I grew up with a life of repeated and ongoing abuse and exploitation. This is my story. My name is Isabella, and my story started young. My dad sadly died of a drugs overdose when I was little. My mum is a drugs user who is often absent and has regular stints living on the streets. I had a chaotic and broken childhood. I spent a lot of my childhood in care and also living with different family members in the north of Staffordshire. My nan looked after me as well as she could, but I got pulled in different directions. I still had contact with my mum, and she introduced me to a man called Ewan, who she was hanging around with. My older sister Emma started a relationship with him. Ewan was in his 20s, whilst Emma was still only in her early teens. My mum also had an on and off relationship with him. At this point, my mum had secured a place to live, and I was living with my mum while she continued to see Ewan. They saw a lot of each other. Mum and Ewan let me drink alcohol and take drugs regularly. Ewan kept encouraging me to take more drugs and drink alcohol, and we started fooling around too. One day, a probation worker visited and found me in bed with Ewan and reported it. The police got involved, but I didn't trust them. I started to see Ewan as a boyfriend, and I didn't want to ruin that. So I stopped answering their calls. Ewan and my mum spent a lot of time with drug users, and I was exposed to drugs usage on a regular basis. One of these drug users convinced me when I was drunk to go and stay in a flat in Basildon. I didn't do anything there, but it turns out he sent me there so I could be used for prostitution, and he could make money out of it. Police got involved again, and a judge then imposed a full care order, and I was sent to a place called a therapeutic home in Wales. I was still in contact with Ewan, because Mum would call me and then put Ewan on the phone. It turned horrible though, as Ewan was trying to control me and would phone 150 times a day. They moved me to another care home in Preston, but I only lasted one night before I ran away and went back to live with my nan. I was happy at my nan's, but Ewan wouldn't leave me alone. He would flash his car lights at the house, constantly beep his horn, and threaten to kick the door down and hurt my nan. I didn't want my nan to get hurt, so I would go with him, but I didn't want to. I went missing a lot at that point, as it was just easier to be missing than deal with him threatening me and my nan. At one point, I managed to not be found for 36 days. Ewan just wanted to control me and for me to always be with him, but I didn't. Police officers in the child exploitation team started to visit me regularly. They became like friends, and I knew I could turn to them for help. I tried to get back to normal, but then I got introduced to monkey dust when I was 17. Getting off dust was really hard, and whilst I was using, I sold jewellery and other things to pay for it. When I was sober, I would come and stand outside the police station. I didn't know how to ask for help, but I hoped someone would notice me. The officers would come out and spend time with me, get me cups of tea or a meal every now and then, and sometimes give me a lift back to my nan's. My life felt mad at that point, and I actually liked going to the station. It felt safe. I was still a minor, and because I was still struggling, a judge moved me to a secure accommodation for my protection in Huntingdon. I had a deprivation of liberty order, which meant I had to stay in the accommodation with no access to a phone. I couldn't even go out without a chaperone. They gave me counselling when I was there, and I admitted I'd been a victim to offences like coercive control and sexual activity with a child. The police tried to convict Ewan, but it needed my support, and I felt guilty about getting him into trouble. Ewan was one of the steady few people in my life, even though he did treat me bad. The police provided me with support, and I finally felt strong enough and ready to say what had actually been going on. Ewan pleaded guilty and went to prison for 7 years. My deprivation of liberty order was removed and I moved back home. I felt really guilty about Ewan, and with my routine getting messed up again, I started taking dust again. It was worse this time, and my new boyfriend made it worse. He took advantage of me and hurt me, one time punching me in the mouth. I was in self-destruct mode, and the police recognised this, and so I had another deprivation of liberty order and was put in another care home. My mum then had another baby, and this really made a difference to me. Something changed in me and I knew I needed to stop using drugs. I pulled away from the people and places that were bad for me as I realised that the environment was keeping me in those circles. I had a month of drug withdrawal symptoms, which made me feel lonely and sick, but it was worth it. I have a flat of my own now, and I feel like the real me. I'm positive about my future, and I have a good relationship with my sister. I'm too anxious to attend college, but I'm doing online courses and I'd like to go into some sort of care role in the future. I know Ewan was violent and nasty and not good for me. I used drugs and alcohol to numb my feelings. But now I have the time to focus on me.